Mate, they're called the Port Adelaide Power, and I tell you what, the players have been struck by lightning. The way that they've been playing these last few games and just this whole season, we did not predict them to be this high on the ladder. I know personally, as a fan who've got their number one pick this year, I wanted them on the bottom of the ladder, but Port Adelaide's been rising, Joe.
Yeah, they got the power to win, all right.
Apparently.
Jeez, very hot team right now, especially when they're playing at home. It's a real fortress to them. But them, unlike the Crows, they're able to leave Adelaide Oval and win away. And they're actually right now the hottest team playing at Marvel Stadium as well. So not only are they winning at home, they're also super hot here in Victoria. They beat Richmond at the MCG the other week as well. So they are well and truly in the hunt, man. They could actually give Collingwood a scare.
Yeah, I think there's probably 3 teams at the moment who are ready to go. And it's Port Adelaide's one of them. For a team that, hasn't been great, their fans wanted the coach's head at the start of the year, get him out of here. Now they're like, sign him up for 10 years. I don't think they know what's going on, but they're driven by success. Teams have worked him out. No more Sack Hinkley, and the young kids are really the ones that are pushing the team, as the likes of Boak and some others have started to fall off a little bit. It's these guys that were drafted a few years ago. Something's in the water in Adelaide, Joe. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, 100%, especially with this guy here pictured, or this guy, should I say, pictured here, Ollie Wines. He's been working his way back slowly into the season, but as you say, it really isn't him that's the one that's been driving the standards. He's starting to build up. So you can see that there's definitely some upside to this team, which is frightening when you consider that they're first on the ladder with 12 wins and 2 losses, a healthy percentage of 119.3, and a performance at home last week against Geelong where they were really challenged early on. It was 2 goals to 6. Geelong looked on top. It seemed that they'd stifled their ball movement, but after quarter time, they flicked the switch to power, and they surged. There was a power surge, and the Putty Cats were toast.
Big shout out to Jen from the stream. You know who you are. Hopefully you're going to see this review. You told us, hey, should I pick Ollie Wines in my team? Mate, he has gone bonkers. So hats off to you there, Jen.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who's benefiting from the slow build-up. He hasn't been rushed back in. And the thing is, it's amazing that for someone who is a Brownlow medalist, he just has to simply play a role in that team. There are others who are picking up the slack, not even among the stars, even like the Powell Peppers of the world, who are doing all they can to get their engine room running on all 4 cylinders. They are 8 cylinders. This is a V8.
Mate, they're going V12, Joe. It's almost a rocket ship. Second in the metrics across the board. First defensive rating, which is crazy. Third defensive rating. So for a team that really hasn't had a lot of key defenders, and that kind of position's been a big trouble for them in the past, third in defensive rating's fantastic. Second in rating for coaches' votes. And the big thing that really steps out for me this year for them is they're first in offensive rating, but their leading goal kicker's only got 28 goals. So, yes, they've missed Charlie Dixon for a while, but it's these midfielders. It's a guy that we'll talk about soon who's really been stepping up and actually playing a lot of half-forward midfield, kicking goals, setting them up. Like, Finlayson's great, but he's almost not the target sometimes, which I think kind of leads other teams to not mark him, and that's when he pulls out the big numbers.
He is that awkward size who has some height to him whilst also being agile at ground level. They love playing him pitching in the ruck, but they don't even have to do that because they can get a guy like Charlie Dixon to play that Tom Hawkins style of ruckman in the forward line as well and keep Jeremy Finlayson up and about around the ground. You are 100% right. 28 goals for a leading goal kicker is ridiculous.
It's not bad.
A lot of it, as you also alluded to, this guy, one among the other, midfielders like your Rosies who are pushing forward, hitting the scoreboard and causing absolute mayhem. I know there's not much elite on this score sheet here in terms of the rundown, but you can see he's above average in just about everything whilst also being elite in the score involvements. He's hitting the scoreboard. He's setting up goals. Him and Rose are making a really formidable duo in the middle of the ground.
Yeah, it's that 2018 draft all over again. Port Adelaide did the right thing. Picked up Butters, picked up Rosie. Dersman's not doing so well, but, mate, this guy melts my heart. It's Zach Butters. He's great on potatoes, but he's not a spud. So, can't complain if I was a Port fan.
He is so good, he can even make the spuds good.
Yeah.
That's how good he is. He is that good. But it's hard to say there are any spuds in Port Adelaide's team. They're a very well-oiled machine at the moment, and he is flourishing with the Rosies and with the. I know you don't like this guy, but JHF is also doing a fairly good job for them. He's helping out with the contested balls, and this guy can burst away. And there's very few sights better than a Zach Butters streaming forward towards forward 50, dancing around someone and kicking a goal on the run. He's a beautiful, silky player.
I think as well, it's kind of, we've always seen this talent be there, especially from Supercoach owners, right? We've always seen he's had games that he's done really well, but never been able to put it through a whole season. He hasn't had an injury. Fingers crossed it doesn't happen. But it's really come all together for him this year. And we see the results.
100%. But there's someone else, though, who, despite his position in the team as El Capitan, it has not come together for him.
Yeah. Tom Jonas, mate. I think it's a key defender thing. I don't know. Just like maybe the ball's never in the back line, so his stats are terrible. But below average for disposals, same for intercepts, same for intercept marks, which I think's been a really big problem for him. Same with below average one-on-ones and spoils too. He just punches the ball away, as we see this above average for spoils. He's never the one that takes the mark. It's always good enough to do that because when the ball gets thrown in the ruck, the midfield is there, the congestion players just take it out. So his job is just to really nullify the player. And that's really, his stats there. I know he's been dropped a couple of times already, or maybe it's been an injury, but you'd hope the captain would be lifting, right? Kind of that pillar of, yes, we must look to you to kind of push the standards a little bit.
Oh, 100%. I mean, your team must be in an absolute stellar position if the captain is not being selected and being stuck playing in the sample. Like that is unbelievable. He's not unhealthy. He's not injured. No. He's just not selected. You're not best 23. That is unbelievable. So obviously he must provide a lot off the field in training and things like that in terms of leadership and standards. Because right now the club is still performing. They're 11 in a row, and they don't need him. He's like he could be a glorified mascot for him right now. But I can only imagine how much better they would be if they have that on-field leadership when the going gets tough in the clenches, in a final, for example, against another fellow top 4 team. Be something special to have your skipper stand up in the clutch and do something huge defensively. If he can lift, I can see Port Adelaide getting just that little bit closer towards winning the flag.
Mate, I know Jack Siebel's been the point of inspiration in the North backline. Hopefully Tom Jonas can kind of show the same and kind of show the team what he needs to do. Just less kickouts on the full.
Yeah. Mate, look at that. It speaks for itself, right? This rating?
Yeah. I mean, the metrics just say it all, right? We've given them an A+, top of the ladder. I think there's not many players on that Port list who a lot of teams wouldn't want in their side. And come the trade period, people are going to be asking about everyone who's up for contract. Their midfield's flying. Their forward line's doing well. They've just picked up Quinton Narkle, who kicked 2 or 3 goals against his former club, Geelong. Rioli's doing okay. He's laid off the Gatorade. Mate, this team's just doing well. And hats off to Port. We didn't think you'd be here at the start of the season, but you're here now. Hopefully you can keep it up for the rest of the year.
100%. I'm not a big fan of their supporter base, but I can be respectful of someone like Ken Hinckley, who has been under the pump for so long. I just love seeing vindication come in such an incredible manner for him. You can clearly see it when he's out and about celebrating on the bench and hugging and dancing and stuff. Like, you knew the entire weight of the world was on his shoulders, and for his boys to come up and to really be performing in the way they're doing, for me, it's just one of those great feel-good stories that as long as you can persist, don't pull the trigger, and back in the right guy to do the job in time, you will see some results. And I'm not looking at any particular teams who was potentially talking about sacking their coach.
Yeah, I mean, the stars have aligned for Port Adelaide. We can all see the results. Remember, guys, we're doing the rest of the teams. You know what's coming. Stay tuned. Watch all the other content we've got coming out these last couple of weeks.
I love it how you said, remember, guys, as you forgot. It looked like you forgot what you were about to say. You're telling people to remember, and you forgot in the same sentence.
Oh, Joe.
Guys, we are here for you, and we are just doing our bit, doing our thing. So, guys, stay tuned. We'll see you in the next one.